hear you.
Okay, I wasn't sure if my mic was working.
Yeah, you're a winner. All right, here we go. And somebody said something in the chat. Miss Strickland, your mic is working. And Adams, if you look right here, here's the black screen. There's a black screen and a white screen. Here's the black screen. The black screen you have up in the top right-hand corner, you have pretty much, this is how many people are enrolled, how many people are in the classroom. I don't know if you have that or not, but you should. You got 19 people attending. Right here is the chat bubble. Right here is raise your hand or send an icon. I mean, what do you call it, emoji? Or raise your hand. Raise your hand is toggle on, toggle off. This one you really don't need because I'm not going to send you to a breakout room. This, the three dots, that's where you can set your device settings right here. You can set your device settings, which is usually where you have the problem with the microphone and the video. And you can do some other things, you know, don't mess with the stop recording, don't mess with that. And this is the video, you can toggle it off, you can toggle it on, and same thing with the audio. Okay, so that's the black screen. The white screen, whenever you pull up a class, here is the white screen. And of course, this is the post right here. You can go to chat right here and you can type somebody's name, Miss Gray, and it's not there. There it is, Catherine, and you can send a message to somebody, you know, individually. Okay. You can also send files. You can send hyperlinks. Rate my professors.com. You can send attachments. And you can do this through the conversation also in the class. So I'm just showing you a little bit about how you can use Teams, because I know Tri-County Tech didn't tell you anything about Teams, and you have a actual, you know, free 5 downloads, and I guarantee you they didn't tell you anything about Teams, did they? Yes or no? Everybody shake your head. Anybody? You got 5 free downloads and they didn't tell you a thing about it. Ain't that great? Anyway, so here's the chat button. You go back, you click on the Teams button, and you're back here. Here's the files, that files button right there. And you'll see that you have all the handouts that I've sent you. And there is the recordings. And here's the recordings that we've done the last few days. It's supposed to be in order, and it's not in order. There we go. Older to newer. There's the first day, the second day, start, and today's video will be right here. So you can find your way around Teams now. There's a white screen, and then there's a, go back to post. There's a white screen, and then there is a black screen. Any questions on Teams? And please, again, don't give me this crap. Okay? Because I won't count you here. I at least got to see eyes and above. Y'all got the eyes and above thing down. I ain't kidding you. Y'all need to cheer up. All right. Let's see how many we got in the class now. There's 20, so that means there's 8 students that don't know what the hell's going on. Well, I guess that's pretty good. All right. Question on anything about Teams. Now, let me go ahead and tell you all this. Is everybody listening or playing on their phone? Thank you. Okay, let me tell everybody about this. If you are sick, if you have work, if you have any kind of quarantine because your grandmother had whatever this thing's called, okay? Anything like that, all you have to do, you have to let Tri-County Tech know. And I don't know, does anybody know how to let them know? I guess you could call the information desk and just say, yo, I got COVID, or I've been around people with COVID, who do I tell? And that way they can go through their process. But as far as me, you can use Teams anytime you want. Because what do I do before class starts? I send the call out to those 3 or 4 people, because I do this every day, because I record and I do the closed captioning through. So even if I didn't have those 3 or 4 people, I still would be using it. So I'm going to send the call out. So you don't have to tell me. All you have to do is attend. So I just wanted to let everybody know that, because it's not that hard to do this. It's just, having to go through the motions of doing it. All right. So we've got 20 in the class. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Good. So I wonder where the 8 are that don't know what's going on. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, let me make an announcement. I have seen a couple of you have sent questions in, and I see them, and I'm going to be honest with you, I've never seen them before. Okay? So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to figure out what the heck they're doing, and they're using a generator. They're using a random sample generator, and that's fine. It's not going to be on the test, but I need to show you how to do it. So I think, and Miss Gettings, you help me out here, Miss Gettings, and Mr. Smith. I know a couple of y'all sent these. I think it's three. Let's see, what is it? 1.3, and I think it's like numbers 7, 8, and 9. Does that sound right, Miss Gettings? Just shake your head. Okay. Just hold off on those right now. I looked at them this morning, and I looked at them when Miss Gettings sent me. I've never seen those questions before in my life. So with this new book, evidently they've put in some new questions on me. So I'm going to have to look at them. They're using a random generator, I think, through your TI, and y'all have a TI. So I will find it out. So right now, I want you to hold off on doing those questions. How many questions are there? Can somebody tell me? 7, 8, 9. How far does it go to?
There's
Like
12, and then the last 2, they ask you to do something on StatCrunch, and I was doing the homework, and those were the ones that I didn't understand. But 7, 8, and 9 just gave you a random, like table.
Okay.
They gave you the random sample table or whatever.
All right. First of all, are these test questions? No, these are not test questions. I'm not going to ask you to do a random sample on a generator. Okay. All right. There's Mr. Smith. He's not following directions. So how do I allow video? How do I allow audio? I don't understand how do you allow audio. I don't know what that means, Miss Bowen. I guess you just hit allow. I don't know what that means. I got somebody I need to call in because he's not following directions. So let me call him in right quick. Just give me a second. I'm calling one student in. Miss Bowen, can you go unmute your mic and tell me what you mean? unmute your mic, or she's typing it in. You can unmute your mic, unless she can't. Evidently, she can't. How do I allow video audio? Can anybody answer that? Because I don't know what she means from the student end. I guess, I don't know. Can you hear me, Miss Bowen? She can hear me, so I don't know. I don't know what your question means. You're gonna have to speak to me and explain that.
My computer was
Go ahead. What?
My computer was like glitching, so I couldn't hear you for like a second, but it's back now, so never mind.
Okay, good. Well, there's Mr. Smith. Glad you could join us. When did you get the message, Mr. Smith? You got to unmute your mic. You're talking, but nothing's coming out, Mr. Smith.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. When did you get the message?
I got the email, but I just got your message, like the I just got the
call
thing to join the class.
Yeah, because I saw you calling on my phone, so I went in here and called you through the class. That's why you got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
I was waiting for a call for the class, and
what happened was you must have logged in after 8 o'clock. Did you log in after 8?
No, I've been logged on to Teams since last night.
I don't understand why you missed it. Oh well, you're here. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Okay. So you should be able to see my screen, Mr. Smith. And
I got
these questions 1.3, 7, 8, 9 through 12. Need to hold off on those because I've got to figure out what generator they're using. I think they're using a non-repeating generator, in which we have never, ever taught random generators in probability and statistics. So this is something new. I don't know if the teacher that's in charge of 120, I don't know if she knows that she put those in here. Chances are she doesn't. She just picked some homework problems. So I'm either going to have to make sure that we're going to cover this with her, or I need to delete them, one of the two.
Well, the random generator, after I figured out how to do it, was actually kind of easy.
Yeah, the generator is easy, but I need to check to see if they want a random without repeating or random with repeating. I want a couple of the questions is with the stat crunch. So I've got to present to the class, because I know if you sent this question, I know you and Miss Giddings sent this question. So that means that I probably got 3 or 4 other people that have these same questions. Okay. So give me a couple of days and I'll show you how to do it. Okay.
But I did 1.1, 1.3. I already did all that. So
good. You're good to go then.
Okay.
You're just gifted and talented, Mr. Smith.
I guess.
All right. I told you take after your mama. All right. Now, as we're going to move on to 3.4, so we're going to move to 3.4 today. So let's go ahead and get our handy dandy ebook out and pull it up. And I did put a date on the 3.3 homework. So if you see zeros, you've got till tonight, I think, either tonight or tomorrow midnight, to finish that homework. You might want to finish it because there's about 7 or 8 of y'all that haven't done squat. And I'm not going to let you do that. So that's why I went ahead and put a date on it. Because some of y'all don't believe Calhorn's a hook. So I went ahead and put a due date on there. I usually don't have to do that. But evidently some of y'all just don't want to do the work. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go to the e-text. We're going to go to 1.4. So 1.4 and e-text. Because I think we just finished 1.3, except for those random generators, in which we've never went over that before. So I'll have to figure that out. What are we going to go into with 1.4? And that is the stratified and all that. Let me go ahead and find the list, because there is a list. And I want to show you the list. I thought okay. The first one is a random sample. And we'll talk about that first. I'm going to do it in order. Excuse me. I'm going to do it in order. And can everybody see? I'm going to blow it up for the divas. There we go. Can everybody see that okay? Give me a nod if you needed to blow it up anymore. All right. So with the different types of samples in 1.4, the two that I will test you on, are called random sample and systematic random sample. The reason I'm going to test you on these two is because these are the two that are most used. Random sample, I told you before, is everybody has equal chance. And systematic sample, every nth person has equal chance. So if I was to tell you that I want you to stand outside the doors at the AC campus, outside the exit doors, you and another person, because there's only 2 exits out the front, and I want you to survey every 7th person that walks out the door. That is a systematic random sample. Okay? Or every 10th person. If I tell you to go through the phone book of Anderson County and I tell you to pick the last person on every other page, that is a systematic random sample. Make sure you know these two, because I will test you on them. And that is random sample and systematic random sample. Now, the other ones I do not test you as much on. There is one I do test you on called convenience sample. And I don't know if I spelled it right, convenient sample, because I can't spell words with I and E in them because I've messed them up. Convenient sample, and convenient sample is the least accurate or the least used. Convenient sample is, if I worked at a rock radio station and I was going to school part-time and I had a project in my probability and statistics class, and I asked, and I did a survey on what is your favorite music, and I put it out there on the radio waves, and I said, what is your favorite kind of music? And I put it out on my radio show. Well, why is that a convenient sample?
Because it's convenient to you.
Because everybody that's going to call in, what kind of music are they going to like?
Rock.
Rock, because they're listening to a rock station. That's why a convenient sample is the least used. It's the least accurate. So make sure you know that the best ones to use, random sample, systematic random sample, and convenient sample is the least used. Now there's a couple more. There's cluster sample and stratified. So we'll look at those. But I wanted to write these down on a piece of paper because those are the ones that if I was to test you on, it would be those 3. And there's systematic. The stratified is on the previous page. A stratified is population. Oops, sorry, I hit the wrong button. Go ahead and write it down, but you don't have to write it down. I keep hitting the wrong button. I'm so sorry. I might need to take some medicine. All right. A stratified sample is usually when you're talking about the individuals within a stratum should be homogeneous in some way. So let's say that I decide to do all the elementary schools in District 5. I survey all the students in the elementary schools in District 5. That is called a stratified sample. Okay? Because what do they have in common? They're all 1st through the 5th grade. And they're all similar. They're all 1st through 5th graders. Versus if I was to do a cluster sample, which is about the opposite of stratified, a cluster sample would be going to a voting precinct and asking people, you know, after they voted, who did you vote for and why, or whatever. They're not all the same because you got anywhere from 18 to 100 years old. You got Democrats, Republicans, Green, Libertarian, whatever all the different, you know, minor and major parties are. And you got people independent, you know. So there's really the only thing they have in common is they voted. That's the only thing they have in common. Versus they have something that's in common with them, with their individual selves. The only thing they have in common is they voted. Okay? And the cluster would be like a voting precinct. And there should be a cluster. They don't put these in the right order. I'm putting them in the right order for you. I'm trying to find a cluster. There is a cluster. A cluster sample is obtained by selecting all individuals with a randomly selected collection or group of individuals. I like to use a voting precinct because that is a group of people in a certain time period. And right there from 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock at night, you've got that cluster right there. I got 4 cats that are mad at me. I forgot to get cat food yesterday. So they're all sitting here staring at me like I'm the meanie. Don't worry, they're not malnutritioned at all. So don't call, what is it, DSS for cats. Don't call, you know. All right, there's the cluster sample. I think that's it. And I think the last one they probably do convenience. These are just, a convenience sample is a sample which the individuals are easily obtained and not based on randomness. Studies show that convenience samples in general have results that are suspect. The results should be looked on with extreme skepticism. In other words, don't use convenience sample. Okay? Now, a lot of you are saying, well, Hubert, you said you're not going to test us on this, or you are. We're talking about the different samplings. Those are standardized test questions. You might see them on a entry-level exam or an employment exam. Or you may see them, you know, but you will see random sample or systematic random sample on my test. I don't test you on the others unless I don't know about it. Now, let me go ahead and say that since this book is new, evidently they're throwing new questions in this MyLabs math. So I'm going to have to go through and look at the test and make sure that they ain't throwing some questions in there that I don't care too much about. But anyway, there's a convenient sample. And those are the 4 or 5 different samples that are used in data collection. So make sure you know the 4. They usually give you a list on the last page, but they quit doing that. So I guess they're just not going to do it anymore. They used to give you a list and give you an example of each one. Like I said, this is a new book. First time. There we go. And there is your, I'm just going to give you the page number. What page is this? Page 36. Page 36 gives you an actual, graphic picture of a random sample, systematic random sample, every other person or every other, however the pattern is. A stratified sample, that would be like a school. And then this would be like a voting precinct. God, they spent a whole section on one little concept. That was a waste. Okay, so I think that's it for chapter 1, isn't it? Somebody look at your outline. Let's look at the outline because it's supposed to be right beside us. So I'm going to go over here and pull it because I know damn well some of y'all didn't print it out. So let me pull it up. And let's go down to the last page. 1.4, no, 1.5. Okay, so we did go to 1.5. So let me go back to 1.5, which is talked about. This is always, and believe you me, I get people, I'm sorry, but, I think that if you teach probability and statistics and you teach in an election year, I'm sorry, those two things tie together. But I get fussed at because I talk about elections in probability and statistics. Can you believe that? I get fussed at. He talks too much about politics. Well, if I'm teaching probability and statistics in an election year, yes, I am going to be talking about politics. And I still do. And I don't care if you bitch about it or not. I'm still going to talk about it because politics, voting, precincts, that is probability and statistics. I'm sorry, it's statistics, not probability, it's statistics. So I'm sorry if that, butters your corn. If I'm sorry, it's a fact of life. Just like winning and losing is a fact of life, and getting fired is a fact of life. So, I'm sorry. Anyway, when I talk about bias, I get fussed at because I'm talking about bias. So I don't know why students don't like elections and don't like the word bias, but they exist, and I'm sorry if you don't like them. Anyway, to make a long story short, we're going to go into chapter 5, or section 5, which is called bias. Y'all remember when I talked about the random sample and I told you that everything should be uniform? You remember me saying that in class? Somebody say yes or no, or shake their head. Okay. Well, the opposite of uniform, the enemy of uniform, is bias. Okay, again, I'm going to say this. I'm sorry the word exists, and I'm sorry that it gets people mad, but I'm not going to shy away from teaching it because it makes you mad. That word does exist, and there is that word, and it is a problem with probability and statistics, especially statistics. Okay? Mark Twain, anybody know what Mark Twain said about statistics? Well, we'll look it up so you can know what he said, so you know I'm not making it up. Mark Twain, if I can spell his name right. Statistics. There you go. So I didn't make this up, all right? Does everybody see that? I didn't make it up. There's lies, damn lies, and statistics. Now, why did he say that? Because there are some people that will turn things around to get you to believe their way. Okay? That's what bias is. Turning things or distorting things to, I guess, to pass an agenda, I guess you would say. Turning things or distorting for an agenda. Let's say that Mr. Smith does not like to be around people that smoke. And he's going to show to Tri-County Tech, he's going to present to the president of Tri-County Tech that there are too many people on campus smoking. And, well, right there, the whole thing is shot because he's already biased. Okay? Now, the trick in statistics is to be able to not be biased. Let me give you an example. Can you think of 2 professions or more that cannot be biased? Can anybody think of a profession that cannot be biased?
Sports, like baseball.
No, a profession. Give me a job. You're close. You're very close with sports, but you got to tell me a job in sports.
A sports spectator?
I'm sorry, what?
Sports spectator? Like ESPN?
No. Oh, hell no. You ever been to a Clemson game? Them freaking people are crazy.
No, sports
Okay.
aren't really my thing. I was just figuring since
That's all right.
baseball.
A referee. Now, if you speak to a Clemson, I'm talking about one of them crazy ass fans. Oh my God. The grass, if Clemson loses, okay, it's the grass's fault, the stadium's fault, the referee's fault, and what else? The announcer's fault. It's the announcer's fault too. Okay? It's true. I'm not talking about just normal Clemson fans. I'm talking about the crazy fans. They are crazy. That's why I don't like Clemson football. I give to IPTAY and I give to the foundation, but I don't support Clemson football because of the crazy fans. And I'm not talking about the ones that are supportive. I'm talking about the ones that will get in a fight over the smallest things. Anyway, what about in real world? Besides a referee, what's also non-biased?
Porn star.
A what? What'd he say?
I'm
Pause.
not gonna say what I think he said.
What'd he say? Okay, must not have been important.
It's not.
A judge.
Yeah, it wasn't.
A judge. Let me give you an example one time. I sit on this board, and I'm the chairman of this board. It's called the Land Use Zoning Appeals Board. And we had this guy one time come up, and he wanted to put a mobile home. I mean, he wanted to put a residence. He said a residence. He wanted to put a residence on a lot that was left out of his. He broke up his lot. He broke up his property of about 10 acres into lots, and there was one lot left that was below standards. It was like below 3/4 of an acre. And you have to put a septic tank on 3/4 of an acre and above. And he came before us to get approval on that. And we have to listen, just like court, we have to listen to both sides. And he said, I just want to put a residence, a single bedroom, single bathroom residence, you know, like an apartment. All right. And he said his thing. And then we had to listen to the community. There were about 10 people there. He's going to put a trailer there. He's going to put a mobile home there. We don't want no mobile home there. We don't want no trailer there. Well, I lived in a trailer for 10 years. You know, when I got married, I moved out. I put a trailer on the farm, and I lived in a trailer for 10 years. So I kind of was rubbed the wrong way when they started hollering about trailers and mobile homes. But I didn't say anything. And we went through and discussed. We asked them questions. We asked him questions. And it was the board. There's 7 members on the board. And we voted, and we turned him down. And I have to explain for the notes and the record why we turned him down. And I said, Mr. So-and-so, we do not care what you put on the property. Okay? You can put a Eiffel Tower there. You can put a Gaffney Peach Tower there. You can put a store there. You can put an apartment there. We don't care what you put there. That's not what we are here to do. We're here because we don't want to set precedent on people putting septic tanks on half-acre lots when it's supposed to be 3/4 of an acre. So that's why we turned you down, because you're not supposed to put a septic tank on below 3/4 of an acre. Now, was I biased? Was the board biased? No, we wasn't biased. We were biased, yeah. I mean, we wasn't biased. We were right down the middle. We turned him down, and we could care less if he put a mobile home on it or if he put a, you know, whatever on it. We didn't care about that. We pushed that to the side. He was asking, can he put a septic tank on less than 3/4 of an acre? And we told him no. That is when you can push aside your own personal feelings and do something with statistics or with your job. That is being non-biased. Does everybody understand that? Now, there's 2 types of bias. And this is just in the real world. This is Hubertism right here. There's 2 types of bias. There is bias by mistake, and then there is bias intent. Okay? Let me give you an example of mistake. Let's say that, I don't know, let's say that Miss Gettings works at a newspaper. And her job, she is a mathematician for the newspaper, and she cranks out the numbers for a certain story she's working on. And the numbers say, you know, that that gas has gone up. Well, technically it's gone up 200% because it used to be $1.29 to $1.89, somewhere in there. So it's like, I bought diesel yesterday and it's $3.04, $3.05. So it's gone up. All right. And let's say that she's calculated the math, and the math says that fuel has gone up 150%. And she sends that to the graphics department. She has her story written up, and it's 2 or 3 articles, you know, and she done a good job with the write-up, and she done a good job with the math, and she sends it to graphics. And then they show a big barrel here that's 10 times bigger than this barrel here. That's mistake by bias. Okay, that's bias by mistake. The graphics person is not trying to push an agenda. They just didn't think about this being a picture 10 times bigger than this barrel. And you'll see that here in just a second. Intent is when you actually falsify the math, or you curve the math, and you don't really care about the graphics because you've already curved the math, or you have tainted the interpretation. You've tainted the interpretation. This is where I got in trouble. I asked the class, okay? I asked a question. I said, can anybody give me an example of somebody or something being biased? Can anybody in this class give me an example of something being biased? Anybody?
COVID deaths.
I'm sorry, what?
COVID deaths.
Okay. COVID deaths. Actually, that wasn't what got us in trouble. Somebody said the news or the media. Oh. And I got in trouble because I brought in the media was being biased. I didn't say the media was being biased. I asked for an example of something in somebody's life that's biased. And somebody said the media. Somebody just said COVID. What do you mean by that? Was Mr. Buck, was that you? Who said COVID? I can write your name down and get you in trouble.
I did.
All right, Mr. Smith, why do you think it's biased?
Because on the news the other day, they just said that if you had the vaccination, you have 99.999% chance of survival.
That's what they said at the beginning.
Yeah.
That's what they said at the beginning for people that didn't have, you know, that wasn't elderly or didn't have overlying conditions. So.
Right. But then
I think that's what you meant. Go ahead.
Yes. But then they turned right around and said if you're unvaccinated, then you have you're 25 times more likely to die. But 0.00001 times 25 equals 99.97%. So
very good. Very good. Anybody else can you give me an example of anything else that might be biased?
A car dealer.
A car dealer. Yeah, I guess you could say he's biased because his cars are always going to be perfect, right? Even though he's selling you a piece of crap, he could be selling you a piece of crap. So you do see bias in the real world. You do see it, but especially where there's statistics. And I like Mr. Smith's example because he said that if you actually do the math, you might find that they're lying to you in this example. Okay? You know a car salesman is going to lie to you. He's not even using statistics. He's just going to lie to you. All right. If you look at the pages after, and I know we got to finish here because some of y'all are going to start doing convulsions. Okay? Let me go back to my e-text, wherever my e-text is. There we go. And I'm going to give you an example of a test question I could give you. And this is also a standardized test question, what I'm fixing to show you. So either, I bet they took it out since it's a dadgum, since it's a new book, I bet they took the good ones out. Yep, I bet they did. Okay, I'm not liking this book. Yep, they took it out. They took out my soccer balls and they took out my barrels. So I'm gonna have to find the barrels and the soccer balls and show it to you. But that's a good place for us to quit. So now you are responsible for 1.4 and 1.5. So I'm gonna write that down so everybody can see that. We just covered 1.4 and 1.5. So now those people that did 1.1 through 1.3, you only have 2 sections of homework to work on before Wednesday. Those people that haven't done a damn thing, you have 5 sections of homework to do. 1.5. You have 5 sections of homework to do. You should have worked on homework, and now you got to do it before midnight because you're going to get a 0 if you don't. But it's my fault, right? You didn't choose not to do homework. It's my fault. Anyway, and I didn't look at anybody's names. I just looked at the people that hadn't done any homework. I just counted the 0s. All right, so now I got to go to the handy dandy. Let me turn off the recording and the share and let me